Step into the Oracle Parlor, a podcast where those interested in witchcraft, psychic abilities, ghosts, and all things paranormal come to sip and spill the magical tea. This parlor is a space to grow by maintaining our curiosity over fear when it comes to the spooky and the paranormal. I'm your host, Jenny, otherwise known as Fantasma Witch. I'm a previous visual storytelling artist from animation, now full-time psychic witch, who is getting her MA in psychology to become a licensed therapist. Every other episode, I will share my paranormal experiences, different witchy experiences on a variety of topics, while other episodes, I will be talking with witchy guests of all backgrounds, from writers to artists to well-known social media witches, so we can learn about their practices and how they grew into their personal power. So get cozy and grab your tea. It's time to get mystical. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Oracle Parlor podcast. In this episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about our personal inherited beliefs that we bring into a session as a reader. So, if you are someone who gives readings to other people, this will be a really beneficial episode for you to listen to, whether or not you already kind of know this information. And even if you aren't someone who gives readings to people, this is also really good for you to know and understand. So that way, when you go and get readings from people, you can kind of have that discernment and that understanding of where your reader is coming from, which can make a huge difference in the connection or maybe disconnection that you have with your reader. So, like always, starting my episodes off by saying that a lot of this is based on my personal experiences, my lived experiences, the things that I have come to understand for myself in my practice. These are my beliefs. These are my own personal ideas on these topics that we're discussing. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. That's acceptable. You shouldn't have to feel like you agree with every single thing that I say. And some of the things that I say in this episode, I may not agree with years, months, even weeks from now, depending on my education or lack thereof. But let's go ahead and get into this. So, I feel like usually these topics kind of come up because of some sort of thing that has happened online. And this one I feel like is no different. And I will share with you the thing that I had seen online a little later once you have a little more context. But essentially, just know that this is coming from having seen something online and being like, this is a topic that I feel is important to discuss. So, when it comes to being a reader, when we enter the parlor, we bring with us everything that we have ever experienced, every belief that we have ever held, whether that belief was something that we grew and cultivated or something that was handed to us, something that we inherited, or something that was inherited on a very deep subconscious level that we aren't even aware exists. This is true for everyone. This is actually something that you learn about in psychology, fun fact. Because for those of you who don't know, I'm currently getting my master's degree to become a therapist, and this is something that we discussed quite a lot in my first quarter, is that we don't exist within a bubble. We exist within the context, and the context is makes who we are. The context is our society, our personal upbringing in our family, or lack thereof, our um, pop culture, our everything external reflects on the internal and reverse. It's this mirror idea. So, whether you are aware of it or not, you hold personal ideas, personal judgments, personal beliefs, and values that are all based on conscious and unconscious ideas that we have grown up with, that we have experienced, that we have been handed. And the reason why it's so important to be aware of these conscious and unconscious things as a reader is because we need to be able to make sure that we are not projecting when we are in a reading. So projecting happens, some of you may already have this concept already, but projecting happens when we take those inherited ideas, beliefs, judgments, and we essentially place it on whatever the other is. This could be another person. This could be a reading. This could be psychic information. We project our own personal ideas and beliefs onto it. And this can be problematic because what ends up happening is you end up kind of unknowingly skewing the reading and the psychic information with your own judgments and perspective. And this can happen consciously or unconsciously. This can be done whether you're aware of it or not. And so, one of the best places to start if you are a reader is to ask yourself questions. Ask yourself questions of what are my values? What do I believe in? Spiritually, as well as just like day-to-day life. What beliefs do I have that maybe I didn't cultivate but was given to me? So I'll give you an example of this. I had actually gotten a wonderful reading with a very well-known astrologer one time, astrologer and psychic Jessica Lanyadoo. And she had actually asked me, what my previous spiritual upbringing was. And I said, oh, I was raised Catholic. And she had pointed out an unconscious inherited belief that I was projecting, not in my readings, just in day-to-day life, which was this idea of fairness in the sense of what you put into the world is what you get back. And she kind of helped me to see that with the Catholic belief system, there's this idea that if you are a good person and you do good in the world, then you get into heaven. And so once she made me realize, kind of opened up my eyes to this unconscious belief, I was like, oh my gosh. Suddenly it made sense as to this unconscious projection I had on my personal worldview. That wasn't to account for, and this is something I had discussed with her. I don't see that with everybody else. I see that only with me in my personal life. If I work hard, then I should be able to achieve the thing, and yet I'm not achieving the thing, so that means I'm bad. Uh, Again, this was not about me and other people being like, if that person's a bad person, then they get what's coming to them. No, it was only something I had internalized. And the reason why I had internalized it was because of this inherited belief I had, was because of this good versus sinner idea that had been ingrained in me since I was very, very, very young. And the reason why I'm using this as the example is because I feel like a lot of the people who listen to this podcast or watch it are of uh, some sort of alternative or pagan belief system. And most of those people something that I notice is they tend to come from these backgrounds of previous spiritual upbringings that have influenced them that they have left, but there may still be some underlying notions there that we may not even be consciously aware of. We see this a lot when it comes to spiritual bypassing, unfortunately, within the spiritual community, even outside of Catholicism or Christianity or any of the Judeo-Christian religions, which is taking these old ideas that we grew up with from a previous religion and bringing it in. Light and love is definitely one of those things. I'm not going to get into it in this episode too deeply because spiritual bypassing is a topic that has been on my list for a while now. And it is something I could do multiple episodes on. So I'm going to hold off on that one. But just know that this idea of this good versus bad and like high vibe, like that is a recontextualization, not even recontextualization, it's a repackaging of an inherited belief from a previous spiritual upbringing. So that is one of the ways that we can see these inherited beliefs and these inherited judgments come into play. Now, because this is my podcast, I'm going to be using myself as an example for a lot of these. So hopefully it makes sense, but this is also me like showing a lot of my personal stuff. So another example is your personal values and ideas and what you do or do not agree with. So, for example, I have a difficult time with the notion of someone emotionally or physically cheating on their partner. Now, we're not cheating is very, very specific. Cheating means that you are in a relationship, whether that is with one person or multiple people, and they know everyone is involved, knows that you're in a relationship with multiple people. Whereas cheating is that they don't know. There's a very specific difference there, and I want to really make that clear here. But I have a difficult time with someone having a relationship of any kind, of that deep emotional or intimate physical relationship with someone else while they are partnered and not telling their partner about it and not being open and not being honest and lying about it. And the reason for that is because I have a past, a very muddy past with a lot of issues of that nature, which I'm not going to get into. But it's something that I personally have my own core values, ethics, morals around. Because of my lived experiences, it has become an ingrained belief, an ingrained idea. So you can imagine that as a reader, it can be difficult when I get someone who sits down and wants a reading about their relationship, and they openly tell me that they are cheating on their partner for this other person, and they want a reading about the relationship that the affair that they're having, which I had happen at the very beginning of my reading career, back when I started off at the Mystic Museum, which is where I first began to actually give readings to the public outside of like the office that I worked in when I was in animation. So this was like my big first foray, like introduction to the world at large outside of like coworkers. And I had somebody bring this up. And I had to stop myself and bring awareness to the fact that I hold personal judgments, beliefs, and values that contradict this person that was sitting in front of me. And I had to accept that fact. I had to recognize that fact. I had to name it because as soon as they said it, it brought up discomfort within me. And it made me have to stop and pause and reflect. Not completely like tell this person, hold up, whoa, 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 whoa. But it did make me kind of go, hold on there. With that pause, I had to ask myself if I would be able to give this person a genuine reading without getting in the way. Can I give this person the reading that they're asking for without my judgment, without my personal values, without my personal opinions getting in the way? And I told myself, I can do this. I don't agree with it, but whatever the cards have to say, I'm going to honestly tell them what the cards have to say because it's not my place. It's not my place or opinion to tell this person, you're a bad person and I disagree with your choices. Your life choices are bad. That's not my place as a reader. My place as a reader is to listen, to co create and co hold the space with my sitter, and provide the guidance that they are getting through my psychic senses, through the cards, through whatever tools, whatever methods. And that, I personally believe, does not come from me. It comes from some other grand energy source, knowing whether it's their higher selves, whether it's divine, universe, whatever you want to call it. And it's not my place. Because I honestly don't know what the person is going through, what lessons they're currently learning, what journey they're currently on. It's not my place to tell them my personal opinion. They're not there for my opinion. They haven't booked a reading with me and sat down for a reading because they want my opinion. They don't want my opinion. And that's where this understanding and separation of what is me versus what is coming from outside of me that needs to be spoken. Can I get out of my own way to provide? And I was able to provide this person with a reading without my judgments getting in the way, without clouding that. Because even if I pulled cards, I had to stop and be like reflecting, okay, this is the intuitive psychic feeling that I'm getting from this card. Even if my brain wants to say XYZ, it's not the same. So it's really helpful, as you can see, to be able to understand these things. Now, I'll give another example that I haven't personally experienced, but it's a great one to consider, is not everyone, unfortunately, not everyone uh, believes that, or agrees with, I should say, not everyone agrees with sex workers. Um, and we're not going to get into it here, but um, so if you are a reader and you are someone who thinks that sex work is whatever, bad, it is not your place as the reader for someone who comes to you who is a sex worker to tell them what you think about their profession and their choices in life, because that's not what they're there for. And that's not your responsibility. That's not your job. Simple as that. Period. Getting out of your own way in order to provide what is needed is the key, one of the key tenets of this kind of work. So, again, if you're not somebody who gives readings, but you're someone who goes and receives readings, this is also really good to know because some people may feel uncomfortable. For example, if we keep using the sex worker idea, if someone's a sex worker and they know that there is a lot of prejudice against them for being a sex worker, they may not feel comfortable or safe going to a reader to get a reading. And at least in my personal practice and my personal beliefs and my core values and ethics, and this is why I'm working to become a licensed therapist and a licensed counselor, is because I believe that everyone should feel like they have a safe place to turn to be vulnerable, to be seen, to be heard, to get guidance in this particular example. And I want to be able to provide that kind of safe space or co-create that safe space with whoever I'm reading for so they don't feel like they can't speak to me. This is one of the major reasons why I'm working towards getting my degree in my master's degree in psychology is because I feel like unfortunately there is a major stigma around a lot of ideas in psychology when it comes to the paranormal, non-mainstream spiritual ideas and beliefs, paranormal experiences as a whole. Um, there's such prejudice and such judgment and such, you know, and I want to be able to kind of break that mold and be like, people can have paranormal experiences. Of course, there's a fine line and things to keep in mind and things to notice and keep an eye out for, um, in case somebody does have something else that's going on that may not be paranormal, that may be something more than that. But to completely just write somebody off just because they have a different experience or a different belief or a different, I I just simply don't agree with that. I don't find that helpful for anyone involved, honestly. So now we come to the part where, now that you have a little bit of context of what I mean about our inherited beliefs and our inherited judgments, let me share with you the video that kind of got me thinking about this and wanting to make this podcast episode. So, someone whom I have been giving pet communication sessions to for a couple years now had sent me a video that had really gone viral online. And this is like, I think it was like last year. So it's been quite a while. But it's always been on the back of my mind and it's always kind of bothered me. Um, and essentially, the video was of someone who was really, really popular online for being a pet psychic and a pet communicator. And they were talking about a session that they had with a cat and how this cat was evil. That is the exact word they used, evil. So right there, before I even like watched the video, just from the title of the video, red flag went up. Evil, demonic. Those are my red flags when um anyone who is psychic uses those words. I immediately have to go, that's very Christian coded. And it makes me immediately wonder what's why, and not just psychics, I mean, paranormal investigators. I have to go, oh, okay, well, now I'm gonna be a little more discerning with whatever the content is. So essentially, this pet psychic had said that when they connected him with the cat, that the cat was evil and that the cat referred to themselves as a demon. And I'm not even kidding, a demon. Yes, I know. I felt the energy of people listening to this episode. The what? Yes. They said the cat referred to itself as a demon, a literal demon, and that it was evil and that it liked to uh, do bad things just to do bad things. And this person was going on and on about this. Now, they said at the end that when they had talked to the owner of the cat said, "Oh my gosh, we call her a demon." And the pet psychic felt validated that this cat was a demon because the owner said that the cat was a demon. So, first, I will say in regards to pet communication, our pets do not have this understanding of demonic, devil. It's a very human concept, a human-made idea. Now, what had happened essentially, from my opinion, from being a pet psychic who was watching this, it was very clear to me that this pet psychic was projecting a lot of their personal inherited um, beliefs and values and judgments onto the interactions that they were having with this cat. Because if this particular pet psychic comes from a spiritual background previously or currently that has to do with Christianity or Catholicism or Judeo-Christian type that has demons and evil in it and devils, then that's part of the projection that's happening there. Because when I've communicated with pets in the past, pets will often repeat what has been told to them to me, even if they don't understand what it means. If they don't have the context and understanding for it, they repeat it to me. So I'll give you an example. I've had pets tell me, like, they'll straight up be like, I am so beautiful. I'm so handsome. I am gorgeous. I am so beautiful. I'm so handsome. I'm so gorgeous. Oh my God. I'm so lovely to look at. And the reason why they tell me this is because they've been told it over and over and over and over and over and over again by their family that loves them, that they are like, have you heard how beautiful I am? I literally had a horse do this. This horse was just like, have you seen the photo of me? Aren't I gorgeous? Have you been told how handsome I am? Because check this out. And it was because this horse had been told so many times how beautiful they were. So they were just like, I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful. I'm so beautiful. I've also had this happen before with um, dogs and cats, where they will tell me that they are the ruler of the kingdom. Essentially, this is what they kind of like project energetically, that they rule over the land and that they are royalty and everybody should worship them because they're so wonderful and they're a little princess or a queen. And then, of course, I find out that their family refers to them as a princess or a queen or a prince. And that's what they tell me is they go, I'm a little prince. I'm a little princess. I'm a queen. Did you know that I'm the queen of the land here? That I am in charge? I'm the queen. Because that's what they've been told. So that's what they understand. So when it comes to this cat had been told, you're a demon, you're evil. You're a little demon, you're evil. So then of course when the cat is going to communicate with a pet communicator, they're going to be like, "Oh yes, I'm a demon. I'm evil. Yes, I'm a demon. I'm evil." Now as far as the cat doing things like the pet communicator had said something about how the cat said that they just like to do things just because like to cause chaos and to be evil and to be a demon, um when in reality what the cat was probably saying is they find it funny. That doesn't make them evil. that makes that makes them a brat, that makes them kind of mean. That doesn't make them demonic. I have had it happen where I have communicated with dogs who have on two, I'll give you two examples. I've had one dog tell me that the reason why they would get into the trash is because they were stressed their owner left and they would just like nervously dig through everything because they were just so had so much energy they had to get it out somehow and they can't dig, so they're going to dig through trash. I've also had a dog tell me that they do it because they find it fun. They think it's funny because they thought it was fun to get these smells. And then they thought it was funny when their owner came home and was upset about it, even though they felt kind of bad about it. They're like, yeah, but it's kind of funny. Kind of like the best way to think about it is like a kid playing ding dong ditch. They know that they shouldn't do it, they're still gonna do it. It's not great. Does that make them evil? No. Or a stupid, high schooler, not high school, we can't even say younger, but like 12, 13-year-old kid who's trying to be cool and like is like, oh yeah, I'm gonna graffiti something on this and then gets caught later and kind of feels bad about it, but they had fun in the moment and they were just trying to like have a good time. Does that make them evil? No. Does it mean that they're a troublemaker? Yes. A trickster? Yeah. Is it annoying? Yes. Doesn't make them evil. And this is the issue that I had with this particular pet psychic who was saying that this cat was doing chaotic things because the cat wanted to, because the cat admitted as much, but said that the cat was evil for doing it. And that is a projection of both the owner and the reader. Because the owner is projecting their inherited ideas and beliefs of what makes something evil and demonic. The cat interprets that, absorbs that, doesn't understand it, but goes, okay, well, this is how they define me. So apparently, this is what I am. Apparently, I'm evil and I'm demonic. That's what they tell me. Just like the horse that thing that says I'm beautiful and I'm handsome and I'm wonderful, or the other cat that says I'm a queen. That's what they have been told. That's their inherited belief from what they've received, from the validations they've gotten. That's the same thing here. this owner was projecting their inherited beliefs onto this animal. The pet psychic came in, perceived it, and instead of questioning it, allowed their own ideas and values and inherited beliefs on demonic, evil, devil presence and energy to be projected onto this cat. And they went around and told everyone that apparently animals can be completely evil just because this cat was being a cat. Just because this cat thought it was funny to cause problems, which again, that doesn't make them evil. It makes them a freaking cat. It makes them, who knows, they could be bored and they just think it's funny because they have nothing else to do and they're like, yeah, it's funny when they get upset. I don't care. Especially if their owner turns around and gets mad at them anyways and doesn't like them and calls them a devil and evil and all this stuff, then why would they care about making their pet family happy? The cat's not going to care. They're already feeling unloved. So yeah, of course they're going to act out. I have seen this happen with sessions before. I have had a pet tell me a bad, not a bad, but that the owner, the kid of the owner of this cat used to call this cat a mean name and the cat didn't like it and his feelings were hurt and they were all wondering why the cat didn't like the kid. Because your kid is letting the cat know very clearly that they don't like the cat. And the cat senses that, so they're not going to like the kid. So, I should also mention that this pet psychic, the reason why I'm using them as an example for projecting their inherited beliefs onto this pet communication session is because they fully talk about in the video how genuinely scared and fearful they were of the cat and the cat's responses. That they genuinely believed that this cat was evil and demonic and caused such great fear in them from this conversation that they had with this cat. And fear is such a beautiful indicator for things like this because as soon as fear starts to come into play, that's when we should really say, oh, wait, I'm feeling fear. Is this coming from within me? Fear can be a wonderful alarm system to let you know, yes, it can be something that keeps us safe and protects us, such as like you should be afraid to cross the street without looking. Fear is an amazing tool, but the minute it starts to come up, especially in situations like this, that should be the clear bing, 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 red flag. Hold on, I'm having a fear response. What is that telling me? What does that mean? And in this situation, this pet communicator should have stopped and realized the fact that they were having a fear response to their fears around this pet being demonic and evil, that should have been a clear indicator of, oh, I'm letting my own personal beliefs get in the way and it's causing a lot of fear within me, which I find very interesting. Unfortunately, this video got really, really, really popular and it made the rounds. And there was this quite large group of people under this idea and this belief that I knew cats were evil. I knew, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a cat person. And literally, if you're watching the video, you can see my sweet alley cat boy right here, Binks. Yes, as in Thackeray Binks from Hocus Pocus. I'm not just saying that cats aren't evil because I'm a cat person. I'm saying I have spoken to enough animals through psychic communication to understand what they are trying to communicate, what they have been given and told, the inherited beliefs of their family, of their owners. I don't like saying owners. I really don't. But some people act like owners, and I don't care for that. But that's my own personal belief and value. they have that inherited from their family. And then I, as the psychic, have to be aware of my own beliefs, values, judgments, to make sure that when I'm psychically receiving that information, that I can discern what is mine and what is theirs. What is mine and does not need to be a part of the reading. And again, even if you're not a reader, this is really good to know. If you go to someone else for a pet communication session or a tarot reading or any kind of psychic reading, to take into consideration who your reader is, where they come from, their background. Some readers, um, myself and a lot of the readers that I'm friends with and that I have interviewed, we often have a section on our website that's a little like a biography, and the biography talks about our background, our cultural background, who we are, our identities, because our identities will also give you an idea, our background, our bio will give you an idea of some of the experiences that, like, it'll give you not a clear black or white idea, but a clear enough idea to be like, oh, okay, I can kind of see where this person is coming from. Because someone who comes from a different group, different spiritual background, belief, socio-cultural, um, it's all going to be very different for every reader, and that is going to be brought into the room. My spiritual background, even the ones that I'm no longer associated with, are going to still be in the room. And it is my job to be able to discern that. And while my folk practices, because I practice a lot of Italian folk practices and Mexican folk practices, while they do have a lot of Catholicism like underlying it, I do have to be aware of like my inherited beliefs and values that I no longer agree with that are maybe still unconsciously at work within me. So I'm still providing my client with the best possible reading without letting myself cloud the reading. Because I'll say this, think of the tarot, right? In the tarot, there's a card that's the devil. And a lot of people who don't practice reading tarot see the devil card, especially if they understand from a Judeo-Christian belief system. They see the devil card, they get scared because to them, the devil is evil, demonic, horrible, super negative, super bad. Possession, even. Some people will see the devil card and think that it means that they're possessed. And this is completely not even in context with the reading. Some people will see it in a love reading and think that there's demonic presence. And I'm like, whoa, 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 just because it's the devil card. But in reality, in tarot, the devil card is about bondage, about the things that hold you back out of fear, the things that scare you to not do different, the things that have you stuck in this way that's really unhealthy and causing you pain and problems. And I could go on, but the idea here, and the reason why I bring this up is to give you another example of how our inherited ideas and beliefs can shift and change the meaning of things like this. How our clients can see the devil card and be completely scared. But once they have that understanding, they can shift that perspective and go, oh, whoo, sigh of relief. So, for example, if I'm giving a psychic reading without cards, and I'm just, let's say I'm doing whatever Claire wants to come through, just a general psychic reading, and I'm reading somebody's energy. If I see something that looks like a devil or a demon, I'm not going to allow myself to jump back into my old inherited beliefs that devils and demons are these terrible evil monsters and yada 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 yada. I will take it into consideration as like, that's interesting. But I'll think back on the tarot first and foremost and think, well, the devil in tarot actually means yada, 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 yada. So how can that be coming into play in this person's life? I'm not going to immediately jump to this person's possessed and they have demonic energy all around them. No, because I'm able to separate those things. And that is so important as psychic readers to be able to provide that as a service. And it's so important as a client going into a reading to allow yourself to not be scared, for one thing, but to also be mindful, like I said, of where this person is coming from, what their background is, how they practice, and how that influences the reading itself. Anyways, that's the episode for today. Let me know thoughts, questions, and of course, I mean, it's been a while since I've said it. If you want to send in a paranormal story for the podcast, I would love to share it. But thank you all so much for being here for yet another episode of the Oracle Parlor podcast. I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you so much for joining me in the parlor for this episode. If you want more psychic magical tips, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Fantasma Witch. FANTASMAWITCH. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon, where I have a Discord community. I do Q&As, live classes, workshops, and more. To book a reading or consultation directly with me, you can go to my website, www.phantasmawitch.com. All of these links can be found in the episode description. And please, if you enjoyed this show, make sure you go leave a rating, leave a review, share it with others. It really helps the show to reach new listeners if you take a moment to do that, and it is sincerely appreciated. Shout out to the artist Cat Lines, who helped me to redesign the podcast logo to the beautiful magical teacup you see today. See you, mystical friends, in the parlor next time.